Respectfully Disagree podcast. Back with another episode. I think this is 155. I got one that's getting ready to be loaded. And we doing one. So we working now. Got a new face and a new voice. Want to welcome to the podcast, Miss Risha. This might be one of the biggest Beyonce fans that I know. So this is going to be perfect. This is going to be perfect because Beyonce was here last week, and this is how I'm going to kick off this introduction because I saw the Love on Top. Was it Love on Top? Yeah.
Yes.
You're the one that I love. Baby, you're all I need. You're the only thing I see. Come on, baby, it's you. You're the one that gives your all. You're the one I can always call. When I need you, baby, everything stops. Baby, you're the one I need. Come on, baby, it's you. Finally, you put my love on top. Come on, baby, it's you.
Okay, now, y'all just beat everybody. Did y'all practice that together? Y'all sound so good. Give yourselves a round of applause.
One, two, three.
And everybody's reaction, I've been seeing it on TikTok and everything, and the energy and everything was amazing. And I wanted to talk to somebody. So I saw your post and things like that, and I think you commented on something, and he was like, I'm trying to get on there soon, hopefully.
One day.
And I was like,
I
you
didn't
know
It
what?
was gonna be this soon.
Right. So I was like, I'm going to get out of my shell, because I honestly feel like sometimes that's my issue. It's like networking with different people and doing things like that and just building that courage, because I've had plenty of people that's like, hey man, I want to do an episode or whatever, and I'm like, the mic's always open. Mm-hmm. That's kind of my blanket statement when I literally mean it. And like, just let me know. And but it's kind of like at that point nobody really follows through, and I guess they're waiting on me, I'm waiting on them, and I'm like, you know what, full speed ahead. So I reached out to you, you pulled up. So we're going to talk about Beyonce. We're going to talk about SiPretty. We're going to do a lot of that today. Like I said, go ahead. Are you from Louisville, first of all?
No.
So that's even better. So let us know a little bit about yourself.
My name's Risha, but I go
And
by Zuri.
whoa. I apologize. I said Risha. So I apologize.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
It's cool. Trust me, my own family don't even say my name right. FYI. Like, my father still does not say my name the way it's supposed to be. So don't feel bad. So when other people do it, and I know they be like, correct your name, I do. But for 34 years now, it's just like, why at this point if my family don't even say it right?
Nah, I get it. That's why I stopped immediately on the spot. I was like, nah, like, I ain't going to disrespect it.
But nope, I go by Zuri. I am not from here. I'm from Lorain, Ohio. Right on top of Lake Erie. Most people be like, where's that at? And my default is, where LeBron James from? Cleveland. I'm Ohio. And they be like, oh, okay. But yes, lived on Lake Erie, born and raised. Now I'm here in Louisville, being 19 years. It's been 19 years.
Okay.
Since we moved down here. My mom came down here, of course, moved half my family here. Then my mom came down here. She celebrated 19 years of sobriety.
I saw your post the other day.
Yes. So, yes, kudos to her. So, yeah, we've been down here doing it since.
Okay. So we do got a few things in common then, because oftentimes when I tell people where I'm from, they're like, where is Clinton, Kentucky? Never heard of it.
Oh, you from Clinton?
Yeah.
Did not know that. Okay.
So that's...
I know where that's at.
Hold on. There's a Clinton County in Clinton.
Yeah. Wait.
Clinton is like almost 4.5, 5 hours from here. Have you ever heard of Paducah?
Okay, then never mind. No.
That's why I said, like, a lot of people get it mixed up because, like, Clinton County is like eastern Kentucky, not too far, like Glasgow up around there.
Got it.
But I'm from a small town. The town is called Clinton, but it's in Hickman County. So that says everything you need to know.
Okay.
Small little town. So when people's like, where are you from? It's like, where? And I got to explain it to them. Like, all right, y'all know where Paducah is or where this is. So I get it.
Yeah,
now,
somebody said like LeBron James, and they're like, "Oh, Cleveland." Yep.
There you go. So how was that growing up then? Because it's like I've been to Cleveland several times. You know, basketball games, of course, and for it to be a city, it seemed quiet in a sense. So is that?
It's always been like that. Well, especially where I'm from. Like I'm 25 minutes away from Cleveland, so to go to Cleveland, that's where we would go for entertainment. Like that's the big city. You know, where people come in, visit. So that's where we go if we really wanted to have fun. Like, what y'all doing tonight? Y'all want to ride out to Cleveland? Get a car full of people? And here we are.
And see, that's how we was. It's like we had to ride to Paducah for any form of entertainment, or Memphis wasn't far from us, maybe about an hour and a half. So we do different places like that. But that's interesting because, like I said, the few times that I've gone, I was just like, what is here other than cold weather? Like
that is all snow and the sign that says Cleveland, and that's new.
Okay.
And that is fairly new. So
Got you.
But fun fact, I went to LeBron James basketball camp when he first opened. I played basketball.
Look, I'm learning something too. I was like, I did not know that. So you a hooping in?
Yes, I was there when Cleveland had a girls WNBA team. When we was the Rockets or Rock Stars. It was Rockets, I think.
Oh wow! But I'm learning something for real today then, because I swear I didn't.
We used to have a girls WNBA team, and then I do not know what happened to it. But yep, and I went to his basketball camp.
That's dope. That's on my bucket list. Like I said, I've been all different places. Cleveland Rockers. Okay. Yep. I was like, I'm trying to shake this man's hand. I was like, as much money I done sent to LeBron shoes and games and everything else. My son got to meet him. You know, my son got to go down on the court or whatever. Seen that. And, you know, of course, I was just standing on the sidelines or whatnot. But it's like. I would be like, emotional support. My son needs me to hold his hand. He doesn't do well in crowds. Right. So real quick before we dive into Beyonce or whatever, like I said, since I've known you, we used to work together or whatever. It's like you've been full of energy, life of the room or whatever, and I see you do dance and things like that. So were you always into that growing up? Did you do dance in school and stuff like that? I was always on the step team. We used to have parades back home. I danced and stepped in our parades. And I've always been a dancer. That's dope. I never was a cheerleader because it was too much of arms, but they kind of forced me because my mouth was so big. They was like, you have the voice, so you have to be our screamer. So I was only on a cheerleader team because of my voice. Gotcha. I was like, I'm not a cheerleader. I don't want to do it. They was like, no, you got to be the voice. But I was always, dancing has been life since life. And see, that's kind of how my niece is right now. Like, dancing is her biggest thing, but because she had a talent in gymnastics and things like that, she was in cheer for a while. And she was just good at it, but I don't know if that's where her heart is or whatever. It was basketball. Then I was like, basketball's always been life. I wanted to go to college in WNBA, but I was like, dance. Okay, dance is where it's at. Okay, that's dope. So now that leads us to the $1 million question, because I gotta know. Like, I've been dying to pick the brain of somebody that's beehives, and out of fear. Like sometimes I'm like, all right, no, don't do it. I see
I'm
what be
not
going
one of
on
them-
social media.
I'm not one of them Beehive members that's going to no, because I'm realistic. Like she's human.
Okay.
I'm definitely realistic. Like
Okay.
it's talent. It's not just because I'm gonna glorify her because she's Beyonce. I'm like,
Gotcha.
I'm not there. Like maybe as a kid, I probably would have back in the day because we've been riding since high school.
That's what my first question was finna be, is like, how far back?
Since they was Girl Time when she was Destiny's Child with LaToya, Michelle, and all of them.
Okay.
Then even when she ventured off, of course I like to dance, so I've always been the main attraction. Like I've always wanted to be front center. So anybody who was the lead, I was following them. So once she dropped, I said, "Oh, she dropped the album, and she sounds good." And I've been hooked ever since. Dangerous with Love had me hooked.
And that's why I was like, man, like growing up, it's like, you know, everybody was on that Destiny's Child wave, 106 Park and all that good jazz.
Yes.
But then once you saw that they, you know, went their separate ways and things like that, that's when I'm gonna be honest, like I started having a little bias because I was like, I felt like Kelly didn't get the respect that she really deserved. And that's why I started changing my opinion about things. And it's like, if you voice that in a room with the wrong people, you gonna get your
They gonna come for you. But I feel it too, because Kelly is definitely dope. I will never take away from what, like, I am a all them fam. I like Kelly, I like Michelle, but of course I am a Beehive and I like Beyonce. But to me, it's the work that you put in. Now, especially growing up, and I've always been have an entrepreneur mind. Like when y'all tell me to come to work, okay, you know, I'm gonna come to work when I get there. Like when I get there, I get there. But when I do work, I put my best foot forward. So even with that, if you're not putting yourself out there, then this is what you get.
That's what happens.
This is what happens. That, in my opinion.
No, that's fair. That's a fair assessment.
But then even when she comes to her music, she lets it know, like, you know, what was it? Was it Dirty Laundry by Kelly? She like spills of how she even felt like life happened. I let my life control my work.
Gotcha.
I let my relationship control everything else. So since I was in that relationship, this is what happened. So this is where we stand. But coming out, I feel like if she came out now, Kelly, she has a fan base. Like she can.
I can agree there. That's fair. And that's why I was just like, once I saw the energy, how the crowd was reacting the other week, and I was just like, damn, I was like, you look silly if you go against it. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to enjoy the music. Like she's got several songs that I enjoy or whatever, but I was just like, man, I was like, why everybody like her? Like, you know, I'm just like
a full-blown entertainer. She's going to give you every dollar that you spend.
So you know what? I'm going to fast forward because I got a couple questions here in regards to that. I'm glad you used the word entertainer because I've heard it referenced several times, not only recently, but in years past, where it's like she's this generation's Michael Jackson as it pertains to entertainment. Do you agree or disagree?
I full-fledged agree.
Okay.
Full-fledged. For one, if you even do a comparison video, when Michael Jackson comes out, what does everybody do? Cry and pass out. When Beyonce comes out, nobody passed out, but she didn't even have to say nothing. And I'm be the first one to admit because it was me crying. Oh my gosh, it's her in the flesh. And I've been to 3 of her concerts, but this is the one I've ever been as close as I was.
Okay.
So it's definitely a difference in seeing. It's definitely a total, like, yes, you there in concert, you seeing her, but it's definitely like watching on TV. It's the big screen. But being close as I was, and I'm like, oh, I can watch her. This is different.
And y'all said it was a 3-hour show?
3-hour show. She had no opening acts, no nothing.
So see, that in its own self is like you got to take your cap off and give kudos just off the rip, because it's like that shows you everything that you're saying in terms of entertainment, where it's like you can go and entertain an audience for 3 solid hours
and nobody get tired.
Exactly.
Everybody screamed for 3 hours straight. The only person that didn't scream was my husband.
Is that because of you though? He's like, man, look,
No,
like, I hear this
First
at
of all-
home. I
No,
hear this
that-
everywhere.
But this was actually his first concert he's ever been to.
Okay.
Because he don't go out for real. So he was just like, I'll go in. Of course, I wanted to go with my friends, but who's going about to pay, especially if they not a Beyonce fan. Like, I'm not about to pay nobody's couple $100 for these. No, you're out of your mind. And I was like, well, I'll go by myself. Like, I'm
I'm in there regardless.
Either way, I'm in there because if I go by myself, I'm going to make friends. Because everybody's there for Beyonce. And when you go to a concert, nine times out of 10, I don't know how many concerts you've been to, but somebody there you end up meeting.
Exactly. Like, now, I done been to a few, but it was like rap, though. And that's why I went to Alicia Keys the other night. And I actually enjoyed that. I'll get into that here in a minute. But sticking with Beyonce, it was like, there was always the inner hate in me. I was like, well, Michael Jackson had people falling out. Michael Jackson had this and that. And I was just finding reasons.
I will show you a video. My husband recorded me.
And that's why I was just like, I was like, maybe, is it really that, how some people are so good at something to where people just get mad. And I don't want to make this about LeBron and them, but that's how I feel about LeBron. It's like,
Can't find nothing.
he's so great at it to where it's like, people just going to despise him just because.
Because he perfected his craft, and that's exactly what she's done. Even at her concerts, I even told my husband, I was like, I really hope she bring Jay-Z out. He's like, why? I was like, it's her concert. And I'm just like, because she performed so much better with Jay-Z. Like, she's a dope performer. But from her first concert that I seen to the second one, when she performed on the Run Tour with Jay-Z, I'm like, dude, your energy was everything. Me thinking like you gave so much, it was just like you and your husband. Like, you know how you in the room with your, like, no matter what it is, if my wife or my husband's right there, I'm showing out.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So I'm like, oh, I hope she bring that same energy. And then for it to be her, you see the growth from her first concert by herself to now. So it's just seeing the growth over time as a artist. I'm like, dog, you dope. You perfected your craft.
Well, I'm starting to respect it because it wasn't until maybe like the week before my daughter mentioned it. Like, I wish I could go. And I'm like, wait a minute, like I ain't never even heard you utter the word Beyonce. So we actually started looking, and it was like, a lot of the tickets at that point was kind of higher up or whatnot. And I had seen, different people's like, if you're going to go, at least try to find a lower level seat so you can enjoy the experience.
Yes.
Then the weather forecast kind of, was like, oh, he's talking about it's supposed to rain and storm. I was like,
You know who Beyonce is? She prayed to the gods, okay? She prayed to the gods. God was on her side. It sprinkled when they pushed it back. And then it's literally like you felt it, but you didn't. I was like, then the wind started blowing real. I was like, ooh, that wind felt good. My husband like, what's going to happen next? I'm like, So we was sitting there, and then they delayed it. Then when she came, like, it was no rain in sight. Literally, when she walked off stage, it started lightning.
so it was meant to be.
And then it started raining. Then, like, 1:30 is when they started thunderstorming.
Oh, wow. So, yeah. So we've actually been looking at a couple of tickets. She was in Chicago this past weekend, right?
Yep.
And I think my wife said St. Louis is coming up, or has it already came?
No, St. Louis.
St. Louis, and then I think she got like 3 shows in Atlanta coming up. And I was just like, well, maybe we'll do that. And I was like, I don't know. But
You should.
definitely a dope experience. But like I said, I will admit that I was biased. Plus, as a man, like, sidebar, we grew up in that era where it was like Bills was coming through. Put a ring on it is coming through.
She went through all the phases.
And I was just like, bro, like, that's how you knew then how big of a star she was, because chicks was going crazy. Every college party and things I was going to, and them tracks came on, and I'm just sitting in the corner, like, now I gotta hear this with my current, whoever I was dealing with. Can you pay the telephone bill? And I was like, man, she's poisoning y'all out here, dog. Like, anybody trying to hear that.
But everybody grow within their music too. But I even told my husband, I'm like, even with her music, it spoke. Like, you see the growth, even with her relationship and everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
She spoke to me. We went through the same journey, but different tax brackets. That's all. Same journey, different tax brackets. That's it. That's all.
All right, so I'm gonna put you on the hot seat real quick before we get off Beyonce. Top 5.
Top 5.
Top 5 songs.
Okay.
If somebody said you got to make a top 5 list, these are only songs you can listen to.
That is the hardest thing I've ever probably had to do in my life. Okay, one would be Diva. No, I take that back. Top 5.
We can come back to it if
Yeah,
you
we
need
have to
to.
come back because I'm going to think about that because that is hard because I listen to at least that album every day.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, you're a super, super fan then.
Like, when I get my routine is Beyonce. Like, yeah. And the
Okay.
Carters. We got to think about that. Let me write that down. Woo! Okay.
So, while you thinking about that, you said something a few minutes ago, and I think it was perfect. You said entrepreneur. You got the mind. That's where we going now.
Okay.
Because SiPretty. I saw you was on the news and all that stuff. Yeah. So for those that are not aware, let's talk about it.
I am the owner and creator of SiPretty.
Talking to the mic so we make sure they hear it.
Hey, y'all, can y'all hear me? Y'all ain't hear me this whole time?
No, they can hear you, but we're going to make sure we plug that part. Yeah.
I am the owner and creator of SiPretty. You can find me online at www.golstoncreations.com or on Facebook, SiPretty, but it's 1P, SiPretty, and Instagram _SiPretty. I make customized wine glasses, wine accessories from wine caddies, wine bottle stops, to bottle holders, and I help brand small business local. So I help with their mugs, cups, pens, shirts, hats. Yeah, pretty much any and everything.
So, just real quick.
Oh, and I'm a travel agent.
That's what I said. Plug it all. Plug it all.
Golston Elite Travels. You can find us at www.golstonelite.travels. We are certified in the Royal Caribbean. We are Disney certified family, Marriott. We do from girls trip, guys trips, families. We definitely do family trips because that's one of the things we are very big on is family traveling. I'd rather travel with my family any day. So yeah, you can find us there.
I'm going to be sure to put it all on the video and all that and make sure it's all there for people to go out and follow. But real quick, though, like some of the vision on how you came into that lane, like what inspired you to say, hey, you know what, I think this is something I want to do. I'm good at it. You know, are you real arts and craft person? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I am, and being broke.
Hey, amen to that.
We'll be like,
Amen
you know
to that.
what? You got to figure out something. No, but I've always been arts and craft. Like I like coloring, like bedazzling stuff. Upcycling has been my thing. Like, and I would DIY something in my house in a heartbeat before I go out and buy it. I would break down a dresser and make some shelves. Okay, like so it's always been a thing for me. But I seen they had a Cricut machine and I wanted it so bad. Husband finally got it, and I'm just like, okay, I got it. I'm going to use it. And it collected dust. It collected dust. And I used it. Went, sat in the corner. Then COVID happened. So nobody was working. Everybody was laid off. We didn't know what was going to happen. And then, of course, we were still working. Thank God I was still able to work. I was at the hospital before I left. And then Christmas came around. My son's birthday is December 22nd.
Ooh, he's one of them too. My wife is December the 18th. Oh, yeah, man.
So I'm like, okay, I see. So we got his birthday out the way. Then I'm like, Christmas is coming up. What am I going to do for Christmas? So I'm like, what am I going to do with the family? And I'm like, Then, no, Norton's had Secret Santa. Okay. And I participated in. And I was like, oh, we don't get paid. This is not a paycheck. I don't think I can participate on this one. And I was like, dang, but I already signed up. So I was like, cups. And of course, I'm very observant. So I was just like, of course, you work with the same people every day. You kind of get to know them. So I'm like, okay, this person likes this. So I made mugs for everybody. And like one girl, she liked it, The Office. And then some girl just had a baby. So I made like cups for a mom cup, like a wine glass and stuff like that. And I was like, this one I'm going to do it for my family. I was like, okay, everybody's about to get a cup. So I started making cups that was geared towards them. I got like a Stiller's cup for my brother-in-law. My brother is in the military and he does insurance.
Okay.
So I made one for his business and just kind of geared towards everybody and what they like, between wine glasses and mugs. And when they was opening them, it was like geared toward them. So they was just like, oh, sentimental. I like this.
It means something.
It meant something. Like you know me. So of course everybody in the house was arguing about whose cups was better. And I looked at my husband. I was like, this is the one. This is it. He was like, okay. And so then after that, that's when I got on my, nobody had my laptop then. I had his laptop. And I was like, wrote my plan out, what I wanted to do. And I was like, cups. That's all I had. My plan was to design cups and make bottles. I've seen it. I went on YouTube University. I was like, here we are. This is what we about to do. And 2.5 years later, going on 3 years.
Sky's the limit, man, for real.
I'm still here.
But like you said, like when COVID hit, like it was either survive and adapt or just be stuck.
Man.
So, hey.
And we were still, thank God, we were still working. So I was like, I still got to work. But I'm just like, what's going to happen? Because it was the thought of the COVID shot's going to be mandatory. And I was so gung-ho, I'm not getting this shot. It's a whole topic in itself. But
right.
But I was like, no, I'm not doing, like, no, like, no, this is not for me. And I was like, if this happens, then what's going to be my plan B? And then nobody was traveling. So that business in itself just was.
Exactly. Like that was critical too.
So, and I'm still have to pay overhead fees. So I'm like, oh, we're still paying, but nobody's paying. So what now?
You know what, now that I'm putting it all together, what you sounds like, damn, I ain't even think about that as a travel agent and things like that. Damn.
Nobody was traveling. Everything was halt from crew. Everything was put to a standstill.
Oh, wow. So yeah, you definitely got to go on the grind mode at that point.
So now it's like, yeah, I still got these hours, but now the money's not flowing. So what about overhead? I got to pay both bills from one pocket.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we going to do now?
Grind mode, get it out the mud. There you go.
And here we are.
So definitely congratulations on all of that. Wish you nothing but success moving forward with all of that. Like I said, y'all make sure y'all go check that out. Yes. Support the homies is the thing that we doing over here. So
definitely. And
like I tell people, I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that was another thing. Like, because one, always support it, and your podcast is definitely dope. So
appreciate it.
Being that said too, I know how it is being an entrepreneur trying to get out. It's a struggle.
Struggle.
A struggle, especially being in the city of Louisville. And I hate saying it because I do network, so it can be done, but it's, like I said, it's a struggle because Louisville is a cliquey city. I'm sorry to say it on your podcast.
No, you good. Like I said, I ain't from here, so I ain't offended by it. Like,
I've been here 19 years. I'm not from here, but no, it's hard. And I see it because I'm not from here, so I'm not known. And I don't go out like that. So networking in that setting is kind of like who knows who.
Right.
Type. So you do got to network. So doing that, I'm like, seeing that, I'm like, it is hard. So one thing, when I got that offer with Spectrum to get a commercial, because I got a commercial for this summer with Spectrum, and it was free. And all I had to do was put the commercial together and give it to them. And they ran the whole ad. And it's on 94 networks. So I was like, well, if I want to do that, then I know how hard it is. So I was trying to gather, and it's wow, because people say they want help sometimes. They don't for real in real life. They do not. Because when I seen it, I got a branding page. And it was more so people who like consistently bought, especially like business who like we done traded offers or whatever, or consistently came back to me and I came back to them. So I had a branding page, and it was just because I knew I got some kind of spotlight. I'm on 94 networks. If one person goes to it, they're going to look at my whole website. Right. So with this branding page, it was put other people on. So that's dope. I made a whole post with a host. I'm like, just send me y'all logos and emails, little bio, excuse me, And this is what's gonna happen. Y'all gonna be on the branding page. All you gotta do is share it. Just keep sharing it. But the perk is, I have a commercial. I'm on 94 networks. There's somehow maybe possibly that one person might see me, don't need my services, but might need yours. Mm-hmm. So, and then that's when I did the whole photo shoot thing, and I got your shirt, and I got my friend's Victoria's. She got the hair drip for the lock jewelry.
And look, I got that written here. That's why I was like, photo shoots is right here. I was gonna mention that because, like I said, I see you doing these things. I'm on social media a lot, just sitting around browsing, seeing different things. So I've seen that. I've seen the dance classes and things like that. And I was like, I didn't know if you wanted to touch on that briefly or however you wanted to do it in terms of dance. That's why I asked you about, growing up in high school. And it was like, is this something where it's just like, this is just a hobby. I enjoy doing it. So it's something I want to continue to do. I think I saw some videos or pictures or something where it was like some kids around. So like y'all are teaching with it as well, right?
Yeah. So my friend Antoinette, she owns Rhythm and Vibes.
Okay.
So she's all the choreography. That's all her. I just learn it and dance behind her. I'm your support. Right?
Got you.
Like, I'm your support. I got you. But we recently did, she goes back to Hoptown and help train different dance classes there. So there was a dance team there, and they travel dance. And then they also have their little dance community that they do competitions with. So she goes back there and do training classes. So she's like, you want to hop on the road help? I'm like, of course. I love the kids. So why not? And so we do that. She does that often. And I help her with that. But on Thursday, she has a class. Where's it at? On Barrett Avenue, 845 Barrett Avenue, every Thursday at 9. And it's between hip hop, more so hip hop, dance style.
That's dope then. Like I said, for us, being from a small country little place, we didn't have no dance team, no step team. We didn't have no football. Like, we didn't have none of that. So once I went to college, it was like a culture shock in a sense. Because it's like, you see it on TV or movies, but you didn't never really experience it. So it's like to see that y'all are, teaching and doing things like that. Or even here in Louisville, it's like these schools around here have step teams and stuff like that. I was like, that's dope just to give these kids different avenues and things. And then who knows, you fall in love with it. Now you're teaching it and you're giving it back. So
you definitely.
That's dope.
Definitely, dance is more so of a hobby, but it's definitely therapy for me. Like, dance is life. It's like being put on the basketball court. Like, that's
took
my
it
getaway.
Right out of my mouth.
It's like, it's a getaway. And that was one thing. Like, I will put a ball in my hand. I want my son to get into basketball so bad. He did football, and I was like, oh, okay. But I said, bruh, the moment you get in basketball, training season day, it is on and popping. Like, I love basketball. I don't even watch it as much no more because it's not even the same.
It's different.
Especially ESPN. Like, it be on in the morning with my husband watching. I'm like, why am I watching the news? Y'all not even talking about sports.
At all. So, it's all the way different now. And that's how I was an ESPN junkie growing up. Like, before I go to bed, I just put on ESPN and let it run. I'm
used to my brother waking up to it, getting ready for school, and we talked about sports. I knew all the highlights, but now it's just the news. And I'm like,
exactly.
Whatever.
Like, that was my therapy as well. It was like, that's how I even met my wife, because I was always at the gym. Late at night, like, I'm the last one to walk out. When they turn the lights off, I'm walking out with staff, locking the door and things like that. It was like, when I'm in a bad mood, just go get shots up. I don't even think about nothing. Get into an argument, I'll go to one of the parks, because we lived in Lexington for like 10 years before I moved here. And a lot of their courts, they had lights. And one court, the light stayed on to maybe like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, so you was always at the court.
Yeah, like, that's where I'm going to be at, like, real talk. Like, even now, even though I'm heavy, fat and heavy now, it's like I'm still going to shoot with the best of them. And, going back to what you were saying about your son, my son is just now starting to develop that interest. Like, I don't want to push him into it, because at first my dad made us play. And at first I didn't like it, but we were forced to play. And I keep telling myself, I was like, I don't want to put that on my son to where it's like he's just doing it because I'm making him. But now he's starting to, hey, Dad, can we go outside and shoot? Can we go do this? Can we do that?
The moment he say, hey, it's on. Now, it's training season, right?
Exactly.
So it's 4:30 a.m. we up running. Like, no, don't do
Exactly.
it like that. But
So-
yeah, my husband said the same thing. He was like, your mom's serious about it. It's gonna be camp. I'm like, yeah. And then I even took him up to the park, and we shot around. I was just like, whew, I can't keep doing this. This ain't for me. I can dance though, but if somebody ever was like, hey, I want to pick you up to be a background dancer, I can't do it. Dance is just therapy, my getaway.
There you go.
Like you outside shooting, somebody be like, yo, here's a scout, random NBA. You think you gonna try out?
Nah, it ain't happening.
Like,
It ain't happening. I don't even like when they ask, hey, man, you trying to run? Look, me and running is like oil and water right now. Like, nah.
we don't get along.
It ain't happening. So good stuff. Great conversation. But before we go, I ain't letting you off the hot seat. I need that top 5.
So my top 5 will have to be Deja Vu, the homecoming version.
Okay.
I love when she performs with Jay-Z. It's a different type of energy. And I think that's like the best thing ever. But Deja Vu, Church Girl, it's an everyday song. Bigger, off her Lion King soundtrack album.
Okay.
Just Beyonce? Can it be?
No, if she's on the track, name
With-
it.
Okay, then definitely Destiny Child Soldiers. We can put that
Okay,
on, and I'm
that's a
going
classic.
to bop.
That's a classic.
And then Speechless, number 5.
Okay. So none of the typical I don't wanna put no label on it, but it's like the commercial.
The hits.
Yeah.
But, and it's crazy because everybody says that, but a lot of her songs, most people know, they probably just don't know the title of them. But
And
she
honestly,
got a
that-
lot of hits.
That's the category that I fit in. It's like I know them when I hear
Hear 'em.
them, but I don't really know the titles or whatever.
Yeah. Because a lot of her songs make it to the radio. From her album.
Now I'm gonna start something real quick before I hit this end button, because you used the word hits. Because I'll be online sometimes arguing.
We know you like to tussle. And I say it all the time. Don't bring the drama.
Could Rihanna get on the stage with her and go hit for hit? Yes or no?
You see that Super Bowl performance? You think she... Oh, hit for hit. Okay. Hit for hit.
Do I need to hit the button?
Hit for hit. Rihanna and Beyonce. Hit for
Could
hit.
they do a versus?
No.
I disagree.
So we're gonna have to save that for another conversation one day. I think she can. I think she can. Rihanna got a lot of sleepers, man. I look at Rihanna more like a pop star, in a sense.
Now I got to go home and listen to Rihanna.
That's like
Okay. Now I'm going to go home and listen to Rihanna because I think when I think of Beyonce, I think of overall. So she brings the hits. She brings the entertainment. She brings the style. Like,
Yeah.
she perfected everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's her putting the grind in the work. And that's where I respect her the most because, yes, she does have a team, but she is, like, right there. Like, no, this is wrong. Do this again. Like.
And that's where I'm being honest when I say that I'm starting to see it and appreciate it from that lens as well, in terms of overall everything that she contributes to the music industry as a whole. So that's why I'm saying it's like I'm slowly leaning that direction, but I would argue people up and down. It's like, no, Rihanna can go to war with her hit for hit. So that's an
more
open.
so because you had people who don't like Beyonce just trying to find a reason.
Yeah.
Like I say,
Bills.
with
Yeah.
LeBron James, you find a reason like for no reason because you don't like him. Like, so if he even says or if she even says one thing wrong, it's full blown attack. Like they can't do anything, or if they probably say hell, it's gonna be full blown. Oh my gosh, did you hear what they said on the TV? Like they have.
I'll admit I had a little bias in there, even with TLC. I grew up with Scrubs too. I ain't even have a car. Like, you know how painful it was to not have a car in
on your best friend's ride.
in the middle of that. Like, no. So I'm slowly turning that corner. And shout out to my cousin Charles, his wife. She's a diehard Beyonce.
Come on, Charles' wife.
She be ready to come in my head when I make different posts and things like that. So,
but I have gotten to the habit of not entertaining people because I will argue up and down. Like, well, let's go hit for hit. Like, look how many Grammys she won. What song don't you know on any of them albums? Like, every album, at least 2 songs was in a nomination for a Grammy. So I'm like, I'll go, but now I'm like, she don't argue, so why am I arguing? So I've adapted that mentality. So I'm gonna go back and forth. I'm like, our work speaks for itself.
Well, guess what? That's gonna be the open invitation for you to come on back, and we might have to have that conversation.
Rihanna, let me listen to Rihanna first, but definitely yes, I will be back for that one because hit for hit, Okay. Let me sip my
Great conversation. I definitely appreciate you pulling up. Like I said, we back on this support the homies thing. I really want to bring in different faces, different voices, so we can start learning from each other. I'm plugging all the sites and everything that she just named, so y'all make sure y'all go check that out, as well as hit the like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. And we are out. Appreciate you.
Ass toasted, no competition. Anisha coasting. I feel so high, I feel so live. My body's in the twine. Anisha coasting. I feel so live, and I know why. That I can't deny. Anisha coasting. Goody, fine wine, fools, malt liquor. Wish me I'm high class.